Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Starladder Season 8 Day 24 coverage here on Beyond the Summit. I am Zyori, now slated to solo cast at least Game 5, possibly even Game 6 as well. Fortunately, Fogged had to hit the road to go meet up with his lady friend, so we can't fault him for that. And, well, I'm going to take over here. So we're going to keep it slow and steady here in Game 5. Don't want to wear myself out too much. And this draft actually going a little bit more quickly than I thought. My apologies for getting into it late. It was actually a first pick Visage by SSD. Venom and Clockwork grabbed by Flipside. And of course, Marana was second picked. An interesting choice from Flipside here to go with the third pick, EO. And they are going to pair him with the Chaos Knight. Of course, that ultimate question of, well, who are you going to pair your Wisp with? And they're going to grab that classic duo with the Chaos Knight, so a pretty well-rounded roster to get things started off. We'll see what they want to grab for their mid-hero. They have actually banned out the TA for themselves, so SSD did grab themselves a puck, and I think that choice is pretty darn smart from SSD coming out here, given that TA is out of the pool. SSD also going to grab that Marana-Bane combo, a deadly duo that we've seen on many an occasion. To varying degrees of success, but one that usually does set up for easy arrows if they do make that a tri-lane. Having Visage there to follow up with all of that burst damage that Visage puts out, well, that could be a pretty killer tri-lane if I've ever seen one. SSD will ban out the Viper. Makes a lot of sense here. Another hero that fares well against the puck. Flip side, they may want to grab themselves a Storm Spirit here. Could be a good choice. A pretty solid pick against puck mid. Kind of a wash when it comes down to it. Puck has a little bit of an edge if you can hit level 6 more quickly. But Storm Spirit will be a solid choice. A very mobile hero to pair with that Wisp.
10 seconds
one that does have a little bit of crowd control. No, they are going to go for the Weaver. Interesting choice here. So not sure who Flipside are going to want to put mid. Probably going to be a Weaver mid, though they could do an aggressive long lane tri-lane. Throw Clockwork in the mid, put Weaver in the solo safe. Still sort of an odd laning lineup here for Flipside, as you really don't want to put Wisp in that tri-lane, as we saw in the last match, where we had the Wisp picked up. Just doesn't work that well. Wisp really needs the experience. And alright, Magnus going to be the final pick from SSD, so another interesting choice here. Of course, Puck, that classic mid-hero, though. Arai is going to be the one on the Magnus, so this is actually going to be a solo safe lane Puck, it looks like, and very interesting play from SSD. We'll see how this works for him. And of course, we'll see how they want to lane it. Now, I did tab out because I wanted to look at the standings here. SSD, of course, they have disbanded officially. You know, of course, we're going to have a DC to start things off, so this is a good time to talk about it. SSD have officially disbanded. And they have agreed to play out the rest of their Starladder matches. And now that I'm seeing it, my memory is serving me here. Arise and Come With Me. They're two staple members right now, and they are the two keeping the team alive. The other three stand-ins here. So it is Arise and Come With Me who have made that pledge to continue bringing us matches. And it's kind of a shame that SSD broke up in the time frame that they did, because they were 7-2. They were playing with Pycat and Misery, if you will recall. Of course, Pycat and Misery didn't enjoy their time with the team all that much, so they did part ways, but they were 7-2 in the round robin of Starladder. They were in position 2 or 3 for a while. They had a really great start. Of course, they do have some difficult matches still to come, as they haven't played too many of them, only 11 matches played. And they did suffer a couple of unfortunate losses following their roster breakup, and they are now sitting 7-4. Still actually in okay shape. Still a very small chance they can make it into that top 4 for Starladder Season 8, though looking very grim with their 3 stand-ins. Now, Flipside RU, they're another one of these teams fighting for the battle of who will not get last place. As I mentioned in one of the previous games, seeding does matter in Starladder. And you really don't want to be in that bottom grouping of teams, because it will hurt you coming up in the next season of Starladder. Right now, Flipside sitting 3-9, so they do have a very poor record, and they are a contender for that bottom slot. So still a game that, not a total throwaway match, still some on the line here, and we'll see how they do. Now, SSD, let's take a look at their stand-ins. They've got Stampa, Wern, and Keanu. Recognize all 3 of those players, actually. Stampa in particular, he's been all over the place. Standing in like this has come in handy. Oh, look at this. Shout out to Velat. They're making friends. So I have mixed feelings about the SSD thing, though. I see somebody in chat saying, yeah, you know, they broke up, but they're still playing out the tournament. That's why there's so many stand-ins. I guess that's the nice thing to do. I guess that is the good guy. You know what? We committed to this tournament. We're going to do it. I see where they're coming from. That's a nice gesture. At the same time, it can get a little bit... what's the word I'm searching for here? A little bit tedious. Casting games where you know that the teams... There's nothing on the line for them. They're not even really a team. They're basically just a pub group. It's sort of like watching EEL or something. So it's a nice gesture, but unfortunately, I don't know that it really translates into Prime Dota. But it's cool nonetheless. We get to see more Dota today, so certainly can't complain about that. But yeah, not a lot on the line for SSD. Flipside, on the other hand, they are definitely going to want this one. And how are they on the stand in front? They only have one stand in. And now Flipside is a kind of a strange team in that they are a little bit like Power Rangers, in the sense that in some matches they really seem spot on, like a top upper echelon team. And then in other instances they seem to be in disarray, just running in one at a time, suiciding kills into the enemy team. Very just not cohesive with their team play. Consistency has been a problem here for Flipside RU. And hard to say if this will be one such game. That horn was really loud. Hard to say if this is going to be one such game where they'll be on point or in a state of disarray. And we should find out momentarily here as our creeps are going to spawn. Let's introduce our rosters here. In the bottom, it is going to be HS playing on the Clockwork. Not sure who that is actually, but he is tagged up as HS here. Sheasley going to be supporting on the Wisp. He'll be headed to the mid lane. Supporting Enlight, who will be on the hard farming Chaos Knight. They are going to do the duo mid lane situation here. CK Wisp up against the solo Magnus. And of course, they will have a duo lane up top. Their stand-in Android going to be playing on the Venomancer, and Asuna going to be on the Weaver. Now on the Dire side, of course, we do have SSD, solid state drive, super strong dinosaurs, whatever you want to call them. Come With Me going to be on Mirana. Stompa here going to be on the Visage, and Keanu, one of the other stand-ins, going to be on the Bane for a bit of tri-lane action here in the long lane, down bottom. Arise going to be solo mid, playing on the Magnus, up against that duo lane of the CK Wisp. And up top, it is going to be the solo safe lane Puck, played by Wern. Now, this was that interesting choice where he thought, hey, yeah, Puck's going to be mid. And SSD calling that audible at the line of scrimmage. And they do grab Arise. Arise going to have a nice skewer to start things off here onto a Light. Enlight, pardon me. Is he going to be able to grab a first blood here? I think not. 325 movement speed. Magnus just a little bit too slow. Not going to be able to catch him. Still a noble effort, though. A nice skewer to start things off, making CK's life a little bit more difficult. Clockwork can have his work cut out for him here. A very aggressive tri-lane, but I'm not sure the SSD will be able to set up a kill here. Maybe in the upcoming levels, if Bane can grab a Nightmare, they can make something happen. Of course, as I mentioned in the drafting phase, with that Visage follow-up, should be a free kill on the Clockwork if they can catch him in the Nightmare.
Denied.
So far, Arise, though, doing very well in the mid lane. It is a 1v2. He's sitting 6-0. CK only 5-2. And he is basically getting zoned out. Sheasley has moved into the jungle. He's stacking here. He is trying to pull into the mid lane. But CK not off to a very good start. Arise really doing well. And up top, there has been a rotation to try and help out this Puck. He is sitting 6-3 against the 9-4 Weaver. So obviously a 2v1 style lane setup is not advantageous for the Fairy Dragon. Though Stompa will rotate up top, recognizing that grabbing a kill on the Clockwork can be pretty difficult. And he is just going to help Puck get a little bit of lane control and might be able to assist in grabbing these kills. Off to a pretty slow start here. No kills out on the board quite yet. And I have a feeling this is going to be a relatively slow game. Both sides with, I don't want to say passive lanes, but just setups that don't translate to kills too easily. This is a killer lane down here. But this Clockwork playing it very smart. He is getting a lot of experience as well, sitting level 3. Is going to use the Battery Assault. Will find Bane. Bane going to use a defensive Nightmare here. Not going to do a hell of a lot as he gets stuck in the cogs. Brain Sap comes out. Arrow going to fly. HS not going to juke it. Now they may be able to turn this around. Yeah, Clockwork going to be in big trouble here. One more auto attack ought to do it. Down he goes. That's going to be a first blood. Going the way of SSD. Come with me. Going to grab it. Well played. A very back and forth right there. Back and forth exchange, I guess I should say. You can't just leave it dangling like that. But they come out successful. I was thinking Clockwork might see that arrow coming and try and juke it a little bit, but didn't even try it. Might have been able to grab that kill on Bane if he was able to juke the arrow, but still, nice arrow launch there by Come With Me. Does secure the first blood. So first disparity of the match going to go the way of SSD. It looks like they are getting the better of the laning phase as well. They do have Stompa in the jungle, and Android has been in the lane, so it is slowing things down just a little bit. But I think it's more of this mid. Magnus just doing such a great job against the CK. He is 15-4 against the 16-3 CK, so now they're at least going blow for blow. But Wisp not supporting him too much. Wisp only level 2, going to be level 3 pretty quickly here. Did pull into the jungle. Does have a double stack, some Centaurs as well as some Satyrs. Hey, we're going to have another pause. Boo 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 boo. Do 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 do. Soundtrack. Oh boy. See, solo casting is where pauses really hurt. And it looks like it's going to be a short one. But when you're solo, it's easy to bounce back and forth. You know, when you have somebody else, you can just, hey, what'd you get for Christmas? Oh, what kind of pets do you have? All sorts of interesting talking points you can bring about. When you're solo, a little more difficult in those pauses. Magnus going to whittle his way into the 4-minute rune here. It's going to be a haste in the top position. And it looks like he is going to rotate top. Now, Magnus is level 5. We saw Magnus earlier grab that skewer build. This is a build that level 5 shockwave will skewer into the Weaver, but they are just going to turn and focus onto the Venomancer. Going to make for an easy kill. Magnus going to grab that one, and of course the haste rune going to allow him to get back to the mid lane pretty quickly. A great rune for the mid, especially around that 4-6 minute mark. Let him set up that kill and then get back to lane without missing too many last hits. CK will take over the last hit department here in the mid. But a very nice gank. Easy peasy. Not much the Venomancer could do in that situation. Come With Me, continuing to soak up the farm down here in the bottom lane. Is level 5. Sitting 25-10. Ooh, about on point with that Weaver, but looks like Enlighten a little bit of trouble. I think he did get skewered back into the tower. Arise has been on point with his Magnus play so far in this game. Now Keanu coming in. Looking for an initiation. Looking for the Nightmare. Not going to find it, though. And Wisp will tether up, heal up his buddy. He does have a point in overcharge already, so we'll empty out that bottle. And get Enlight back up to an acceptable level of hit points. Now, Enlight being a little bit bold here. He needs to be sort of careful. Magnus is pretty scary at this point. Arise didn't quite have the mana pool to pull off a Shockwave Skewer combo, but yeah, there was potential for him to hop in there and do some pretty serious damage to that CK. Of course, he did have a Chaos Bolt up, so perhaps that was what was deterring him. So Mirana is indeed going to grab herself a Midas first. And, of course, did go Basilius first, I guess. But does have a hand of Midas here. A very well-timed Midas from Mirana. Did grab that first blood. So going to have it right around the 6-minute mark. And that's almost as fast as you can get it. Maybe a little bit faster if you have an early tower knockdown, something like that. But great news for the Mirana. Now, the real question is, will this Weaver grab a hand of Midas of his own? And it doesn't look like it. He does have the double ring opener. Basilius into Ring of Health. Pretty standard if you're not going to be grabbing that Midas. But that makes me a little bit nervous here for Flipside, because SSD have a really solid lead set up for themselves here. About 2,000 gold, 1,500 experience already at the 6.5 minute mark. And with that early Midas starting to kick in, things could be a little bit difficult. Now, there will be a roam up top, and Stompa going to be in some trouble here. Android taking a lot of damage, but Stompa will be the first to fall. Oh no, Puck going to get taken out as well. Well, successful gank up in the top lane. They do overcommit a bit. Kind of saw that one coming. They definitely should have backed out. I'm sure Arise was screaming that they were missing. See an illusion EO here. But does make her easy kills in the top lane. That will put a dent in this graph. Will move things sort of upward towards Flipside. But still Mirana getting the much better of the farm across the board. Now starting to pull ahead of that Weaver. Clockwork is doing okay though. He is actually pretty close to level 6. So HS all in all hasn't done too bad. He did concede the first blood. But if that's his only death, not too shabby. Sitting 5-1, experience is the name of the game for that Clockwork. Although Bane, looking like he wants to rotate back towards the middle. Let's take a look at the level chart, see how everyone's faring. And wow, Flipside getting the better of the experience graph here, at least for the supports. They have it where it counts. Bane only level 3, Visage only level 4. And they've now got a level 5 Wisp as well as a level 5 Veno. So that is great news. Of course, Wisp, one of those heroes that needs to hit level 6. CK's farm kind of depends on it, needs that taxi service. One of the reasons that CK Wisp is such a great combo. It's because CK, he's not the most effective farmer. But with Wisp, you can farm your lane, relocate up top, set up a gank, and then just go right back to mid. That taxi service changes the effectiveness of how Chaos Knight can farm. So, of course, a lot of that does rely on your Wisp hitting level 6 in a timely manner, and Wisp will do just that. Now, down in the bottom lane, Clockwork is still getting zoned out, and SSD will pressure this tier 1 tower. The glyph does come out. They've got a siege creep with him. Of course, the Basilius on Mirana making this a pretty easy push. Not much the Clockwork can do. He's about 1 creep from that hook shot. Might have been able to land a defense if he had hook shot here. But uh-oh, come with me. Needs to be a little careful. There's a rotation coming in from Enlight and Sheasley. And they are going to come around the front side. There's the hook shot. Come with me. Still has the lead. Going to burn it now. Moonlight Shadow comes out. CK looking for an opening. Not going to find it. 3-man RP. That's going to be the end of the Wisp. Now Enlight trying to go on to come with me. In comes the puck. Skewer back. And Light and HS in no man's land here. It's going to be a 3-0. Great turnaround from SSD. Nightmare comes out. Shockwave to finish him off. Boom. Easy peasy. Too easy for SSD. Yeah, it doesn't really work. It only works with Arteezy. But still a great turnaround. Great support coming out of these lanes as well. Magnus and Puck. That Moonlight Shadow really played around with Flipside. I don't think they noticed the Magnus was there. Beautiful RP. Set it up easy for Puck. And then the 2-person skewer back. Very well done. And of course they do keep their Mirana alive. That is the other big victory there. They not only turn it around and grab the kills, but Mirana does not fall. Now we're going to have the phase boots complete. And that will make things even more difficult for Clockwork. Gold graph and experience graph reflecting that fight. Though, up top, some aggression coming the way of Stompa. Weaver is going to dive it, but again, support's going to be here. Weaver has the time lapse. Going to burn it. And that will be enough for him to survive. Well played by the Weaver. Unfortunately, not going to find the kill. But does survive to tell the tale. Now, what's the Weaver, or the Courier bringing his way? It is going to be a Midas recipe. So here we go. Interesting. Weaver is going to grab a Midas, but it's going to be about 4 minutes behind that Mirana. We see on the net worth chart already Mirana's about 1,500 gold up on it. So I think a necessary pickup here for Flipside. But Weaver going to take a while to come online. And Mirana has such a bigger mid-game presence. I think that Midas already starting to kick in. Mirana going to be able to finish off this tier 1 tower. And then we'll be able to start moving around the map now that she's done her dirty work down here in the bottom lane. Going to be rough for Flipside. I think the Midas on Weaver is needed, but still going to be rough. If he didn't get it, Mirana would easily overtake him. Although that tower does help quite a bit. Magnus going to have a very early blink as well. Here, right around that 10 minute, 45 seconds. He already has the arcane boots as well. Magnus really doing well. Number 2 on the net worth chart. He is 3-0-1. So that first gank with the haste rune up top and then those kills down bottom. Really translating well for the Magnus. And Arise in great shape here. He's got another haste rune bottled up there. Looking for a kill down in the bottom lane. Trying to bait with that Mirana. But they're not going to find it. Come with me. Just going to soak up the farm. Everyone else is near the middle and top. There will be a port down bottom. Actually, it is going to be the Weaver. So perhaps they can grab a kill here. Now Magnus already headed back towards the mid lane. Mirana hiding in the trees here. Which way does she want to go? There's a Sacred Arrow down bottom. Oh, almost going to connect with the Weaver. Going to be slightly off the mark. Might have been enough for a kill. But look at this. Mirana just going to lay into him. Mirana already going for the Yasha. So definitely going to be going a hard carry Mirana build here. No big surprise about that. Yasha, a great early item for that movement speed with the phase boots as well as the leap. Mirana's cruising, man. She is one fast mother. Especially on top of that mount. Makes a lot of sense. In the mid lane, though, Stompa. They're looking for the engage. Chaos Knight looking for that Reality Rift closer. Look at that. Not even going for the value point and crit. Interesting. Moonlight Shadow used. Magnus hops forward. There's the RP. Gonna get interrupted. Arrow flies. Gonna be off the mark. Still Android. Gonna pay for it. Down he goes. Puck gonna hop forward. Dream Coil gonna be enough to finish off the Clockwork. Sheasley taking a lot of damage as well. Warren will fall as he was forced into an odd position. Does make it a 1 for 2 though. Would have been an easier fight if that arrow was on the mark. Or if the RP didn't get interrupted. Still off cooldown. So at least didn't burn the cooldown, but did stop him from RPing to success. He does have an invisibility rune on now. Magnus may just blink over here. There's the double RP. Arrow going to be off the mark, but doesn't matter. Weaver going to fall. as will the Chaos Knight. SSD just finding the better of him. Great engage right there. Lucky to have that invisibility rune as well. There's the Fiend's Grip. Venomancer definitely going to fall. Relocate coming in. Sheasley and HS. It's not the Chaos Knight. Whoa, hookshot going to be off the mark. That's going to cost Sheasley his life. Clockwork going to fall as well. Oh, what a misplay. Oh, gosh, folks. That is just bad news, Bears. All that for the puck. Ends up being a clean sweep, and then some.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Cheese and crackers. That EO relocate. I mean, I guess if that hook shot was on point, they probably could have picked up a kill right there. You got to land those hook shots, though. You got to dunk those. Chaos Knight just going to DC. He's like, fuck this. I'm out. I can't do it, guys. I can't do it. Sorry, team, but I can't. Hashtag I can't. Oh, man. I see someone in chat. You're absolutely right about Magnus. He has he had every rune this game? He's had the bulk of them. They've gone pretty much uncontested. Wisp was able to grab 1 illusion. Maybe 2, but Magnus has had the bulk of the runes here, and that's really been helping out SSD. I mean, just look at this Mirana. She's exploding with farm. 5-0-2. Had a great lane down in the bottom. She killed the tier 1 tower down bottom and has a Midas to show for it. 8.4k on the net worth chart, doubling the Weaver. Insanity. Absolute insanity. Look at Weaver. He felt forced to go that Belt of Strength just to get a slightly larger HP buffer. Still, though, feels like too little too late. Let's take a gander at these graphs, shall we? About an 8,000 gold lead here. Somewhere about 7,500 experience lead. Pretty solid here for the 13-minute mark. Gonna do a little chat moderating here during the pause. Guys spamming the link. So we will resume. But yeah, SSD really in great shape. And like I said, when you have a Mirana versus a Weaver, if they get the Midas at the same time, it's not bad. They can stay on point with one another, and Weaver will end up transitioning into a harder carry. But if you get into this weird dichotomy where the Mirana is already a step ahead, gets the Midas 4 minutes earlier, a 6-minute Midas versus a 10-minute Midas, Mirana is just going to have such a larger presence because she's already ahead of the Weaver. Weaver has nothing, and this is where Mirana really starts to shine. Her mid-game burst is huge. Starstorm mixed with the Sacred Arrow, that's a lot of damage that Mirana can put out. Now her right click's hurt as well. And this Weaver, I think by the time he comes online, like he's going to have to go Lincoln's first. By the time he gets Lincoln's and Power Treads, it's already going to be too late. This Mirana's just going to be fat. She's going to be a beefcake. So down bottom here, looks like Wisp going to be in some trouble. No, Keanu actually going to be the target of choice. He does have the Fiend's Grip coming up in just a second. Though they are going to take a lot of damage. Down goes the Chaos Knight. Doesn't even need the Fiend's Grip as Magnus comes in. Going to be 2 easy kills for the Magnus there. And this CK, his farm is just abysmal at this point. 3.6k, middle of the pack, sitting at position 5. Mirana more than doubling him. Arise and Keanu going to smoke up here. Going to try and bait with the Mirana once again. We'll throw a shockwave, so we'll sort of reveal the smoke. But some of the big ultis are up. Magnus. Oh, there's the Fiend's Grip. I think Magnus has the RP. Yeah, he does. Android buddy, you're going to be in big trouble. Oh no! Arise going to miss the skewer. He's had pretty good skewers all game, but that one was pretty far off the mark. Sorry, my friend, but that one, not so hot. Though Mirana, here we go. She's going to grab a Maelstrom. Second item, raw DPS. Yasha into Maelstrom. I love it. Absolutely love it. In the mid. Relocate. Dream Coil going to come out. Moonlight Shadow. There's the Fiend's Grip. Enlight in big trouble. Nightmare on the Clockwork. Look at this Bane. Crowd controlling like a mother. 3 easy kills. SSD just wiping the floor with Flipside right now. This is pretty incredible. See, SSD. The irony is that they're not a team, but they're still going to be in good shape in the round robin. Following this win, maybe that's a presumptuous statement, but that will push SSD to 8-4. They're still alive, man. They still have a chance in the round robin. It's such a shame that they couldn't keep Highcat and Misery around with sneaking. That's a scary lineup. They could have done well in this round robin. It really is a shame. Stompa going to grab himself a mech here. And Blink on Puck now as well. So pretty solid item progression on the Dire side. On the Radiant, not much item progression to speak of. See a lot of those brown boots over there. Weaver Well, he's got power treads. I guess that's the first thing he's going to grab following that Midas. CK. Yeah, he's got Drum of Endurance. That's something. Not a bad choice on CK, but he still just doesn't have a lot to his name. SSD have just found the better of him all over. This Magnus, though, is really the big playmaker. He's done such a great job. Setting up those kills, using that RP.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Stompa, he's playing a pretty solid Visage here as well. Let's see, where's he at? Look at that. 3 heroes with perfect scores so far on SSD. 5-0-6 Magnus, 5-0-3 on the Mirana. Uh-oh. They're going to ping it out, Mirana. In a nice aggressive posture here. Perhaps looking for a Sacred Arrow. Clockwork. Uh-oh. If only he knew. If only he knew. There's the arrow. Not going to connect.
Players here.
But now they know Mirana's here. Come with me. He's just going to man up here. He's not scared. Puck going to be nearby for support. No, not going to find the initiation. I think SSD can certainly be a bit more aggressive about pushing these towers. The Veno wards making it a bit more difficult for him. Those Veno wards, man, I'm telling you. Chaos Knight and Wisp in the bottom, though. They're going to pressure that tier 1. And by pressure, I mean tickle. Going to do a little bit of damage to it. Just a little bit. Just a pinch. A little soupçon. Soupçon of damage. That's the end of the tier 1 in the mid. That will be 3-0 here in total tower count. And SSD, are they going to go for Roche? I see the pings coming out. They're certainly thinking about it. Ward coverage, non-existent for the Radiant side. There's not a single ward down for Flipside right now. They do not have a single ward on the map. So this will be an unscouted Roshan. And of course, there is a ward down here for SSD right in the middle of the jungle. Right up here outside the Ancients. Some nice aggressive wards down. I like it. Makes a lot of sense. Should be a pretty easy Roche here. Mirana going to grab herself a Manta style. And Roche will fall. Who's going to grab the Aegis? It will be the Mirana. Alright, just going to port straight up top. Mirana versus the world. Mirana's still effectively doubling the Weaver in net worth here. 12k versus 6.6. Not exactly doubling, but still a huge edge over the Weaver. Oh, what a nice skewer down. Wow. Just wow, that Venomancer. He just got juiced. He didn't even know what happened. It's like, hey guys, alright, I'll stack the Ancients. Oh, fucking damn it. Jesus Christ. How was I supposed to know Magnus was there? Oh, man. And he's got a haste rune? Come on. Can't we ward those? Sorry, I should have given Venomancer that weird squeaky voice. Whoa, Magnus, it's a thunderstorm. Oh, he's gonna get put to sleep by his friend. That's
Radiant's
nice.
middle tower is under attack.
So, SSD, they're just gonna continue pressuring here, as they well should. Just chipping away at the tier 2 in the mid. Flip side, they don't really seem too interested in defending it. They're just gonna farm up top. Sharing is caring. Chaos Knight and Weaver just gonna work down the creeps together here in tandem. There's a Ogre Club now in the inventory of Enlight. And it looks like Weaver making progress. He's pulling up gold for that ultimate orb. 1,500 in the bank. Could be worse. Moonlight Shadow. Mirana. She's going to press forward. Looking for a Weaver. Where are you, Mr. Weaver? Not going to connect with the arrow. Very unfortunate for Come With Me. Weaver does have a TP scroll. He's just going to port out. Going to make the right call. Oh, Moonlight Shadow going to get wasted there, unfortunately. Not too bad, but still maybe a missed opportunity for SSD. They will just press forward, though. This tier 2 up top going to be taking heavy damage. They even have an illusion rune on the Mirana. That will make pushing even easier. No glyph for Flipside. They're going to try and make it a 1-for-1. They're going to chip away at this tier 1 in the mid lane, but their pushing power is just non-existent. A port coming into the tier 2. It is going to be the Mirana. Looking to line up the arrow. There it is. Enlight in big trouble. Starstorm. Boom, boom, pow. Wisp going to come in and will relocate him out. Well played by the Wisp. But the real moral of this story, Mirana does defend the tower.
Let thy healing begin. Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Unstoppable.
Uh-oh. Sorry about that. I glanced at chat for a moment. EO relocated back. Easy kills. Arrow down bottom, gonna connect with the creep. And now Weaver gonna be forced back. Now Weaver's in trouble though. Doesn't have the Shikuchi. Gonna be silenced. They'll take him down before he can even time lapse. Well done. They've got the damage. Oh, Magnus. He's gonna miss the skewer. Venomancer, he's got his little plague wards down. They will help keep this tier 2 tower alive in the mid. Not gonna do much for this tier 2 down bottom though.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, I love the replay cam.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Slowly but surely, SSD still whittling them down here. Nice 20,000 gold lead, somewhere around 20,000 experience as well. Tower count is now 5 to 0. Flipside still yet to take out their first tower. Oh man. I'm running out of things to say here, guys. This is pretty one-sided. I'm gonna be honest. I'm usually not one that struggles to find words, but Flipside, I said it during the picking phase, that Flipside are a team that, very similar to Power Rangers, where they struggle with consistency. Some games, they have these fabulous drafts. They've taken some pretty big wins in this tournament with some very impressive plays. Then in other games, they seem to just be in disarray, where they just don't have that team cohesion, and you wonder, is this the same team? And of course, this is a match where they are in a state of disarray. Not the best execution we've seen from them. And that will be the end of the outer towers here. SSD gonna finish him off. It will be 6 to 0 in total tower count. Mirana actually still has the Aegis. Gonna despawn pretty quickly. Mirana also has 5,000 in the bank. She's just sitting on it. I mean, hell, why not? Even if you minus that 5,000 from her net worth, she's still a hop and a skip ahead of the Weaver. Super strong dinosaurs. Looking solid. Uh-oh, up top. Magnus? He's in some trouble. There's the RP, though. Shockwave. He's just going to about face. He'll turn. Supports inbound. Stampa and Keanu. They're on their way. Looking for a Fiend's Grip. He's going to find it. Skewer back. That's the end of the Wisp. Chaos Knight. He's got the Phantasm. Not going to be enough, though. Wisp going to, or pardon me, Puck going to make it in. Chaos Knight is going to fall. It will cost him a Magnus, though. Magnus does actually get taken out, so they will add a kill to the board. And while that was happening, Venomancer got soloed by Mirana. We did miss it. Can't catch them all. And Veno is going to buy back, so Veno's ready for it. He's ready to fight. Mirana will right-click a Daedalus. That's where that gold is going. Not going to go for the Mjolnir. Going to keep it a Maelstrom and just go Daedalus. Want some big numbers. Big crits. So... And... Struggling with the courier a little bit. There we go.
Oh, thanks.
Puck. Gonna have a Necro book. Interesting. If anything, I would have thought Puck was grabbing a Dagon with that Staff of Wizardry. Oh, EO. This Wisp is just so underfarmed. He's got Tranquils on a bottle. That's it. He got nothing. Weaver working towards the Lincolns. He does now have the Ultimate Orb. Has enough to finish up the Perseverance. And he's going to grab it right now as we speak. Still doesn't quite have the recipe. And this is basically what I was worried about with that Weaver Midas, how late it was compared to the Mirana. This mid-game presence from Mirana is so potent. And Weaver's still working on that first defensive item. Still not really packing a punch. Still doesn't really have that much survivability. It's a little better now that he's got the Ultimate Orb. Just so hard for this Scarab to find anything. Stampa going to be working on the Ag Scepter. And is pretty close. Going to need that one last piece here. And, well, still about 1,000 off, but still in okay shape. Uh-oh, a relocate up top. They're going to try and grab Magnus, but he'll blink back. He'll be in a good shape. Actually, looks like he did skewer back. Pardon me. He didn't blink. But will distract him. Jesus, Mirana, I'm missing kills all over here. Going to finish off the Veno. And I think this bottom tier 3 going to be in big trouble here. Glyph going to be popped. Mirana going to use that Manta style. And yeah, this tier 3 taking heavy damage. Arrow gonna fly, won't be on the mark. But Fiend's Grip comes out, and that's the end of the Chaos Knight. He will fall. Mirana gonna hop forward. Oh, the crits! Poor EO. He was already in the well, but Mirana gonna hand him a first-class ticket back anyhow. And there it is. Flipside gonna tap out, and I think well-timed here. 25,000 gold lead, 25,000 experience lead. Not much they could do. Mirana just off to one hell of a start. I don't even know what happened to that game. SSD were just ahead in every front. I thought that Puck in the solo safe lane was a little bit weird with the Visage up there, but Puck fared very nicely against that aggressive lane from Flipside. Mirana did well in the bottom, and Magnus just destroyed the mid. He tore it up in a 1 versus 2. Very well done. I got to give a lot of credit to that Magnus. He was in a 1 versus 2 lane. CK Wisp is a rough lane, even for a solo Magnus. But he handled himself with elegance and grace. Very well done. Come with me. Gonna end 11-0-4. I wish I had a whistle that I could blow or something. One of those like party like brrr things, you know, that you blow at a birthday party. Well done. Pretty much a perfect Mirana game right there. Nearly 800 GPM, 775. That's what I'm talking about. And Hippie says carry Mirana isn't a thing. Huh. I scoff, my friend. That is our 5th match of the day, guys. We've got one more coming up. Probably going to have a good 15 to 20 minute break until the next match gets underway, but our last game of the day should be a good one. Power Rangers versus Empire coming up here on Beyond the Summit for Starladder Season 8. Kind of a silly game there, but I am Zyori, slated to solo cast the last 2 games today. And that's it. We're going to have a short break, guys. Don't go anywhere. One more game of Dota coming your way here on Beyond the Summit.